So I've been noticing two trends going on around TikTok that women have been sharing, and I want to talk about it a little bit. So the first one being the "What do you mean he drained the life out of you" trend. I don't know if those are the exact words, but if you haven't seen it, type it in the search and something should pop up. And the other one I wouldn't necessarily say is a trend from my perspective, but it's more so women basically saying how much they don't like, can't live with, and don't want to be with men. And it has me thinking about how many of us weren't taught how to be with men in reciprocal, aka equally yoked partnerships. But it also made me think about how many of us weren't taught how to, or that we even have the power to choose men who actually value us, who actually want to be in partnerships and understand what that means to be equally yoked. And it's nothing new, but history has shown us that many men aren't raised to be with women in that capacity either, but to more so treat them with a sense of entitlement, ownership, and objectification. And I'm noticing that this is heavily a theme throughout the millennial generation, which is my generation. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that people change up, after a certain amount of time and things like that. And I've definitely had my fair share of pretenders. And there's lots of other undertones and backgrounds that influence the way that we date. I'm really glad to see women speaking up and speaking out about their experiences and taking charge of their personal power and having the confidence to reclaim agency over their bodies and things like that. But this is something that I've said for a while now. I feel like if we, to some degree, especially women, adopted a more conscious dating, rooted in self-awareness, presence, and emotional responsibility, for those who actually want to be in relationships. If that's not your calling, then it's fine. Don't blame men, don't blame women for your failed relationship experiences. It's just that that's not your ministry in this lifetime, and that's okay. But conscious dating is more so, dating from the core self. This means like unconditioned by trauma, social pressures, or ego. And I realized that this way of connecting isn't mainstream because it requires us to do the internal work and reflection. Though I am seeing more of a widespread of people healing and dealing. So shout out to everybody for that. But I feel like not only dating, but connecting and community in general would go back to meaning relating to others from a place of deep authenticity. And you hear about authenticity all the time. It requires us to show up as our truest self without masks or games. And that's even if you aren't as healed as you would like to be. But this is more so about transparency and giving people the chance to make informed decisions based on truth. So that means things like being vulnerable and embracing emotional honesty, especially this next part